Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another HollywoodShono in real life / YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Surface Book, which you all know is a 3000 by 2000 screen and a beautiful, markable device. And what we're going to be testing here is the lovely Diablo 3 in a few various resolutions. We're going to first do it at native resolution, and we're going to do like 5 minutes worth of playing that. And we're going to do 5 minutes of playing at max resolution. We're going to do it in 720p, 1080p, and 3000 by 2000 and give you guys an idea of how the game actually performs. So as you see, we're loading up into Diablo 3 right now, and we're going to be running some tests momentarily. And we'll probably get bugged to go play with some people and to give people an idea of how we're actually daisy chaining this. We actually have the Surface Book, which is right down here, right over there. And we actually have it hooked up to Elgato Game Capture HD down here. So we have it hooked up into that. We have it hooked into the... So basically by having the Surface Book into the display port and then hooked into the laptop, it actually increases the usability of it because you're not actually taxing the GPU. You're actually putting less stress on the GPU that way. So we're going to go into Diablo 3, and we're going to go into the options. So first testing, as you see, we've been running at 1080p, no problem. We're going to put it at native 3000 by 2000 resolution. And I don't know why it looks weird. It probably looks weird because Elgato is mentioned or meant to be in 1080p. So in order to do that, you'd have to actually screen cap off of the Surface Book. Alright, so to actually natively run the test in 3000 by 2000, we actually had to take the display port off and then use it. So now we actually are in 3000 by 2000. So we're going to return to the game here. We're going to play a couple minutes in Diablo 3. We do have the settings down kind of low. And this is at 3000 by 2000 resolution. So our focus is going to be attended to the Surface Book here. So you can kind of see playing right here. We're going to turn the camera down so you can kind of see that we're both playing and doing this at the same time. Game is loading up, so we're in 3000 by 2000 resolution. This is kind of us moving around. It doesn't actually handle it that well. You're not going to get 60 frames a second, especially in certain areas, but you are going to be able to play it, obviously. So we're going to do a quick bounty here. This will be a good test of how the Surface Book performs at the 3000 by 2000 resolution. Now, of course, I am playing Elite Barb, and as you see, we're at Paragon like 568, so it handles pretty well, actually. It does do, like, let's say 25-30 frames a second easily. I mean, it's definitely playable. I mean, obviously, you're going to get better results when you're playing at 1080p, as you'll get that more crisper 60 frames a second round, but this is definitely playable at 3000 by 2000. And you do notice a few frame rate issues. It probably gets worse depending on how much stuff is on the ground. It's not too bad. Like, if you're used to playing Fallout on a Surface Pro 3 or Pro 4, it's kind of the same effect, although it's probably not as extreme. And here we get some set shoulders here. This is basically a rundown of the game and how it plays 3000 by 2000. We're going to show that momentarily once we deal with all these. We're in our options, so there is 3000 by 2000 at 60 frames a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn everything up all the way. So you saw the low settings, and we're going to throw everything pretty much right at it, and it's probably going to lag like a pile of crap because you can't really play it at high settings, but we're going to try it. It looks like my game just froze. So it took about 5 seconds to actually accept the settings, but it's not that bad. So now we're going to hit accept, and we're going to try play again. So everything is basically turned up all the way. Again, it's still doable. I don't know if I'd recommend it too much because, as you see, the frame rate is down quite a bit more. Barbarian here really doesn't have a whole lot to fear as he is able to solo greater if 60 no problem. So Torment X really isn't a problem as I'm pretty much just sitting through Moltens. That second one obviously did take a good hit on me though. Yeah, as you can see now, there is quite a bit more frame rate dropping, but again, it's not super terrible. Like, it is playable, but you're not going to get that streamlined 60 frames a second at 3000 by 2000 native resolution. Not even possible. And I'm not even sure if the Elgato's actually ported at that. It probably is, because it's actually not in full screen. As you see, there are borders off to the side, so it's not the full experience. So it is trying to like downsize it into Elgato. So for our next test here, we're going to do 1920 by 1080p in 60. All right, so now after our system took a little dump on us, we're going to go back into Torment X, and we're going to verify that the settings are in 1080p. Now, one thing to also note is that in the YouTube video that we're doing, like the Twitch segments, like it'll actually split the parts, kind of for editing easier. So like when you change the resolution, you actually make a video on it. When you're editing it in Elgato, it's going to show like the different segments, which is pretty cool. So as you see, the settings are now at 1920 by 1080p. Everything is still up at high. So as you see, it's pretty smooth, not a whole lot of problems. So like if you're playing at standard 1080p, you can definitely pull it off, and enough bandwidth to your wireless, or even wired if you have the Surface dock, it's actually pretty smooth. And even when you're in like high congested areas, it actually handles Diablo really well. So we're going to try to get some particle effects here. We haven't really dealt with any mobs. I think area at crater level 2 would be a really good test. So we're going to go to Act 3. So the area at crater level 2, which is like one of the most dense areas in the game for mobs. Again, this test is at 1920 by 1080p. And yeah, no problem really moving around. Everything handles really good. It seems like 1920 by 1080p is the optimal resolution, which still looks really good on the Surface, but you can also expand it to 1920 by 1280 to actually like expand more of the screen. But that's a 1610 resolution. That's the closest you're actually going to get to the native 3.2 resolution on the Surface Book. For streaming purposes, obviously you don't want to do that, but this is the standard 16:9 resolution, as you see by the graphics actually being, you know, the full screen, whereas before, when I was doing at the 3.2 resolution, that was not the case. Because with Elgato, it's going to be a streamlined 1080p. It's going to downscale everything to the base 1080p resolution. So if you're running in 3000 by 2000, it's going to scale it down to the 9 resolution. So actually lose about 16% of that, I believe. If we were full up on input curves, so you see how the game performs at 1080p. We're going to now do it at 720p. So again, we're changing our settings again. It might screw with our recording. It probably didn't because we were at 3.2. So now as you see, the game's still performing pretty well. It's about the same as before.
I can't pick up anything else.
Surface Book definitely handles 60 frames per second on each channel. And you see there's no difference between 1080p and 720p other than the video quality. It is a little bit more pixelated, obviously. But when you're streaming on YouTube, this is the or on Twitch, this is the resolution. Unless you're a Twitch partner, you're probably going to be stuck with streaming. Like, you don't want to be streaming, you know, 1080p at even 30 frames a second. You want 720p at 30 frames a second, or you can also try 60 frames a second if you have, say, 40, 50, 60 viewers and you have the encoding options, which I unfortunately don't have. So again, this is kind of a test of what the Surface Pro 4 is capable of, and as you see, it does handle Diablo 3 really well. So we're going to kill this Elite Pack, and we're going to tone it down probably to the garbage dump of all resolutions. We're going to go all the way at the bottom. We're going to go at 800 by 600. We're going to throw everything back down. So there's no problem. And hopefully we'll be able to do that within 15 seconds, and yes, we are. So we're playing 800 by 600, which is kind of standard Diablo 2. This is what it looked like, and it looks absolutely terrible, but you're probably going to be able to do like 50 things at once at this resolution and never have a problem with it. So if you like this video on HollywoodShono showing off Diablo 3 on the Surface Book, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favor, check out my other Diablo 3 videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. And if you like the way that Diablo 3 handled the Surface Book, what other games would you like me to throw at it? Have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!